Hey, welcome to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Leticia Ringe, and this is the space to be for high vibe people looking to create a beautiful life and business. Let's do this. Welcome back to the podcast, my beautiful friends. I am Leticia Ringe, your coach, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all today. Today on the podcast, I am sharing with you the exciting details of my newest coaching program, the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program. This is for you if you have a desire for more in your love life. Whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're deciding to leave a relationship, this coaching program has been created for you. You have most likely a deep desire to be in a relationship that turns you on. In other words, lights you up, makes you feel like you've got energy to give and bring to the world. You are excited and satisfied and fulfilled by your relationship life. And you know that this relationship is supporting you to evolve and reach your fullest potential. This is what we all want, particularly where we are conscious people who are on the path of raising our consciousness. We want a conscious romantic relationship and we want conscious other relationships in our life. The reason for this is everything in our life is to support us, right? In living the life we're meant to live, which is a life that is truly beautiful to you. One that you love, one that you enjoy, and one that you're so inspired by. It is so important that the person you choose to spend your life with, which might be multiple people that you choose to spend your life with, right? You might spend 20 years with someone and then 20 years with another and then 20 years with another. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Whoever you're sharing your life with, you want them to bring energy, passion, motivation, drive, support to your life. Is that too much to be asking for? No, it's not. The good news is it's not entirely about the person you pick. It's about the way you approach your relationship. When you know how to set up and create conscious relationships, you will, for the rest of your life, and no matter who you're with, be able to create a partnership that allows you to feel like you're thriving, that allows you to feel fulfilled, that allows you to reach your fullest potential. And I can tell you, I spent years secretly desiring more in my relationship life, holding myself back. And now I have created the romantic relationship and partnership that I desired. And I've been here in London with this beautiful man, setting our relationship up so intentionally. And this is on the back of a relationship that was amazing. There were just some desires that weren't being met by me and by my partner. And so I needed to figure out what they were so that I could actually create that. I now have more consciousness, more awareness that comes from a place of love and belief in my own desires. And therefore I have created that. It is truly incredible for me to sit here and reflect on how different my love life is over just the course of 1 year. I have taken myself through all 6 phases of the relationship cycle that I've been sharing with you here on the podcast in 1 year. And I've been able to move through all of those so intentionally and so fully because of the information that I have been teaching you here and obviously integrating into my life. This stuff matters, it works, and it will help you to create the love life and the romantic relationships and the other relationships that you truly desire. So really pay attention and honor your desires, because if you don't honor the calling that you have, which is probably showing up in feeling frustrated or unfulfilled in some way in the current state of your love life, if you don't honor those desires, the universe will hit you over the head with something that will force you to do that. You will get a wake-up call. Now, focusing on your love life as a way to up-level you personally into your fullest potential is the ultimate personal development process to take, because you will have another person or people that you're able to see yourself in more clearly. You're going to have constant mirrors. This is beautiful. It will also touch on a lot of your limiting and unconscious patterns and behaviors that you created through childhood and that you also brought in with you from previous lifetimes, if you believe in that, which I do. So this little metamorphosis that you can take yourself through focusing on your love life will up-level you personally across every area of your life, including if you have a business. Now, you all know I've been coaching for a long time, about 6 years. I have created bodies of work on all sorts of topics. The first was intentional life design. Then I went into life purpose. Then I went into holistic business for coaches, healers, and space holders. And now I'm talking about conscious relationships. I want you to know that you will be able to fulfill your purpose, intentional life design, and also create a holistic, thriving, purpose-driven business through focusing on your love life too. Wherever you choose to focus, you're going to up-level all other areas. But for me, what I've learned is that the relationship piece was so important because I was ignoring deeply held desires and then pouring myself into my business and my coaching almost as a way to distract myself from the niggling unfulfillment that I was still experiencing. I wasn't aware of that though, because I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't have anyone telling me, hey, is your love life truly the best, the most satisfying that you could imagine? Have you thought about this? No one had offered me that, because most of the examples we have of relationships are not truly fulfilling. Even when you think that your relationship is an example of a truly fulfilling relationship, I bet that if you really, really look closely, you will see areas for improvement, and possibly areas for improvement that you're too scared to admit because you think it means leaving your partner. But that is not always the case. We need awareness. We need to come from the lens of love. And with that awareness and through that lens of love, solutions will be presented. We can create so much change within our love life simply by focusing on ourselves and the relationship with ourselves. And then we can invite and inspire our partner or the next person we end up with to come with us. We need to be leaders in our love life, just like we need to be leaders in the rest of our lives. And so I want you to pay attention to this episode today and ask yourself, honestly, if you see any unmet desires. Now, part of the way you might know that you have a desire for more in your love life is if you spend a lot of time watching programs about love, like romantic comedies like I love, or like dating shows. And you find yourself being really captivated by that, or you love hearing about your friends' dating life and their relationships and talking about relationships. And you might also notice that you have a craving for more in your love life if you find yourself avoiding anything to do with romantic relationships in your love life completely. That's avoidance. And the other is you're leaning in a lot, right? But you're living vicariously through others. That is showing you something that you desire. You might also notice that you have unmet desires because when you hear other people talk about their amazing relationships and what they love about them, whether it's the good stuff or the bad stuff, you find yourself feeling jealous or comparing yourself or feeling like, oh, I just don't like the way I feel after I hear about this. That is a mirror for you showing you that there's something that you crave. Instead of cutting that person out of your life or avoiding seeing them, lean into it. Lean into what they're showing you, because it's not actually them showing you that you're missing something. It's you noticing that you're missing something, and that's why you feel the way you do. So what I want you to know is it's okay. Most of the examples of relationships in our lives are examples of unfulfilling relationships. They are examples of two people who perhaps were super excited and attracted to each other when they first got together and then didn't give conscious attention and awareness to what they were building together. So they just went with the flow. And then over time, they've grown further and further apart, or they feel like they're both not supporting each other's paths and potential. And so we develop these limiting habits together that then feel so hard to stop doing because our way of relating almost becomes the environment that you're living in. And when you try to change something within the environment that you're living in, it can often feel harder because you have all of these triggers to your old way of being and your old way of relating around you. Now, even though that can feel really hard and it can feel like, listen, the easiest option is just to shop around and go get another partner, that can feel like it might be the easiest option. But remember that you have a foundation to work with. And remember that when you do lean in to changing things within a current environment and creating new ways of being and relating in that environment, while it might feel like you've got a big mountain to climb initially, over time, you might end up growing and evolving so much quicker with that person because you did that hard work initially. Now, of course, it starts with you, and then it is necessary that your partner is also willing to be involved in this new way of relating because it does take two. And so for some of you, it may be that your partner doesn't want to do that. And there's a lot of us in this industry, in the personal development industry, those of you who are just really interested in personal development and working on your personal development all the time, and those of you who actually work in this industry, it is very, very common for me to hear, I feel like I've outgrown my partner. What do I do? I feel like we're just not on the same path anymore. I feel like they don't understand me and I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. I also personally understand being in that position because that is exactly where I was. And I can tell you, I felt those feelings quite early on in my personal development journey. And I really believed that, okay, I think that we are going to have to break up. However, my ex-partner and I put a lot of time and attention in and space for each other to catch up to speed with the other, right? And through that process, we both evolved so much. Now my ex-partner is following his purpose and his passion, and he's doing exactly what he wanted to do, which he wasn't even aware of back at that point in our relationship. And I am now doing exactly what I feel is my legacy work. I'm thriving. I'm in a relationship with someone who is so aligned with my life path, my purpose, my work, and the way I live. And we both helped each other get here, okay? So it may not be time to leave the relationship that you're in right now. It might be time for you two to get up on the same page or a similar page. It might mean that you end up leaving the relationship in the future. And either way, you want to know that you've done the work to change what needs to be changed within yourself to approach your relationship more consciously. And you've also given your partner the opportunity to do the same. Now, relationships, all of them, teach us so much about ourselves. They are such common markers of chapters and seasons in our life and ways of being. And for that reason, you want to pay a lot of attention to your romantic life and your relationships. So after creating a super successful business that supported coaches, healers, and space holders to build, start, grow amazing, holistically thriving businesses, doing their purpose-driven work in the world, I decided that I now wanted to focus my next body of work on helping people to create conscious relationships. And I'm on a personal mission in 2023 to support 100 people create a conscious relationship. And by 2025, 3,000 people create a conscious relationship. And the reason for this is I believe in this desire and work so deeply. And I also don't see many examples, and particularly no examples in the way that I'm approaching this topic on how to actually create that. I have at least 100 topics for podcast episodes for you all on this topic. And the reason for that is I have literally been studying relationships my entire life. It has always been an interest and a passion of mine, whether it was observing all of the adults and what they would share about relationships around me, or observing the caregivers in my life, or feeling what it feels like to have a super tumultuous romantic relationship life around you, and how that impacts your health, your happiness, and your fulfillment, either as a child or as the person in the relationship, as the people around you in the relationship. It really impacts so many more people than just the two people in the relationship. And I also had 8 years of experience working in a law firm which had a family law team. And after 2 years in that law firm, I moved into that team and spent 6 years specializing in family law. And so I got to witness again firsthand these relationship breakdowns and how they started and how they ended up breaking down, and what life was like after, and how people moved on and how people didn't move on, and the experiences of each in that, and the emotional hurt. And I really got to learn from those experiences so much, while also having examples of many really thriving relationships around me, because the people who worked in that family law team, not all of them, but most, they had built really successful relationships together by looking at what doesn't work in relationships. This is why when it comes to learning anything, it's really, really good to learn from people who have experience of inverted commas failures, right? You don't want to learn from someone who's just naturally had a great love life their whole life, because they're not going to be able to teach you what really works, what really moves the needle forward, what changes things. And then I was always so interested in building my own thriving relationship. And every long-term relationship I've had has gotten better and better. And I have seen how much of an catalyst it's been to my own personal development each time. I really look at my whole life as the seasons of relationships I was in, and what I learned from those, and how they helped me to really step into the next version of myself moving forward. I've also always been interested in anything to do with like romance. For instance, I love Jane Austen, I love Clueless and The Notebook, and Love Actually, Bridget Jones's Diary, all of those rom-coms and romances I just am absolutely obsessed with. The greatest thing for me would be able to live my life with a partner who I love, and to be able to leave this world together, like in The Notebook. I think that's the sweetest thing ever, and I can't even watch that movie anymore because I literally just cry way too much. I think love is so beautiful. And then when I sit around and I look at most of the examples around us, and I see people complaining about their partners, or perhaps two people who have nothing to say to each other, and not because they don't need words to say to each other, but because literally they just are so disconnected, it makes me so sad. And when I see people who really want to be in a relationship, but they're not giving themselves the opportunity to be in one, or they're settling for less than what they desire with a partner who is not going to change and has told them that, and they have such a deep yearning for something more, it makes me so sad. And the reason for that is you're the one stepping in your own way, and you could be an example in our amazing world of a person who has created a thriving relationship which allows them to feel fulfilled, turns them on, allows them to evolve and reach their fullest potential. And the only reason that this is not happening is because we don't know how. And so that is why I am now telling you everything that I've learned through this process, and I am going to teach you how to create conscious relationships in your life, no matter where you are right now in your relationship journey. It doesn't matter whether you're in a relationship or whether you're single. We can meet you wherever you are in the relationship journey, and we can help you create the conscious relationship you desire. Now, you might not be using that term, conscious relationship, this is what I want, but if you really think about it, What you want is the deepest love you could think of with another person. You want deep intimacy, someone who can fully see you and you get to fully see them, and you're not trying to change each other. You want to be seen in your full potential by your partner and be able to see theirs too, and know that you're both supporting each other with that. You want to connect meaningfully with each other. You want to feel like you've got meaningful things to talk about, to work on. You want to feel like you're moving together in a specific direction to create a life that is beautiful for both of you. You want to feel like you have this sacred container to come home to, where you get to just be yourself in the messiness, in the ups, in the downs, and have that space of being seen, held for you by your amazing partner. You want to experience mind-blowing connection and intimacy deeper than you could ever imagine. It just gets better and better and better, rather than initially it's amazing and then it sort of dwindles off. No, we want relationships that go deeper, that take us to deeper places than what we can go on our own. And we want the beautiful person to be with us on that journey so we can share those experiences together. I can tell you, as someone who built a life that's truly beautiful to me, totally aligned with everything that I want, and had a partner with me who was not aligned with all of those things that I wanted, I spent so much of my time within a relationship feeling alone still, and experiencing lots of things in my life that I really wanted to share with someone else who could appreciate them too, but experiencing that on my own, even though I was in a relationship. And there were so many moments along the way where I thought, oh, I just wish that my partner understood how special this is right now. Or I wish I could share this with someone who really understands that. Like, that is what I want for myself. I want someone who understands my work in the world, who's able to speak my language, who really appreciates who I am and what I've created and what I do, and who is excited to build a life and a relationship based on these principles and ways of looking at the world. Like, I really, really desired that, but I didn't believe it was possible for me to have that. So I really just focused on the relationship with myself, and I built that as best as I could. But there was always something more that I wanted, because I wanted to share it with someone else. I can't tell you how many places I traveled to over the last couple of years where I was alone with no one to share those experiences with. And I was fine to be alone, but I realized on that journey, I don't want to do this alone. I want to share this experience with someone else. I could literally have someone else with me right now. They wouldn't have even needed to pay for anything. All they needed to do was be there, and we would have been able to share that experience together. Instead, I was doing it alone, and then I was unable to really explain to someone else what I just experienced because they weren't there either, right? So I really believe that the opportunity to share experiences with others is so important and crucial to our happiness and fulfillment. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to be in a romantic relationship. You don't have to if you don't want to. We can be intentionally single and have lots of other relationships in our life that meet the needs that we have for people to share experiences with. But for those of you who want a romantic partner, you want someone that you share your life with, then I want you to know that you need to honor that desire and the desire to create more within that area of your life. So this is why I've created the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program, because I've seen a deep desire that is not being met in society. And if you just go on Netflix and look at all the most popular TV shows, they're all to do with love and relationships, and they're all speaking about this burning desire for something they're not getting within their love life. Now, many of these people in these shows definitely need to work on themselves, and don't worry, what the work that we do together on the podcast and in my coaching program will always focus on yourself as well. However, we also don't know how to consciously relate with one another. We don't know how to meaningfully relate with each other. Like if you even just have a look at the state of your friendships, many people don't feel like they've got friends who truly see or understand them. We need help in this area. And so that is why I've decided to devote myself to this topic and create this body of work and this coaching program for you all so we can create that together. I want you all to feel satisfied and thriving across your relationships. And I want you to own your desire for more in terms of your relationships. So the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program in 2023 is going to be something that I work with people one-to-one on. This is because I want to get as much experience as possible supporting people on a one-to-one basis through all of the tools I've created, through all of the processes I've created for you all, and really have that one-to-one attention. This is a wonderful opportunity for those of you who would prefer to work with me one-to-one on this subject. And then in 2024, it will be in group containers. Now, of course, that plan may change, but that's the vision that I have for you all at this stage. Now, working together in the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program, I'm going to meet you wherever you're at in the relationship cycle. So if you're single, you're single. If you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship. If you're deciding whether to leave a relationship, you're deciding whether to leave a relationship. We will meet you where you are and figure out together what you most want to create in terms of a conscious relationship. And then we will do the work necessary to help you move there. Now, in order to create a conscious relationship, there are 3 elements that are involved. The first is you need to have amazing attraction to your amazing partner. So being able to feel attractive and create attraction in your relationship is super important. And this is something I have spent a lot of time practicing, studying, implementing, integrating into my life to create a high level of magnetism and attraction in my relationship and continue to maintain that over time. The second element that we need in a conscious relationship is to have shared values and a shared aligned pathway for the future together. Now, if we don't know what our deepest values are, or even what that future is that we're creating for ourselves, then of course we're going to end up in relationships with people who don't share those values and those futures. That's what happened for me and my partner, because when we got together, I was so young. We were both so young, and we both were not aligned with our life purpose and a beautiful life that really made us feel fulfilled. So the work we did together in our relationship was to realign. And then by the end of the relationship, it was very clear, well, listen, we're not aligned with our future and our shared values anymore. And so really, we're just holding each other back. And while that was a really hard pill to swallow, it was true. And I think that's why in our industry, this is a situation that seems to be faced more and more and more by people, because you guys are doing the work to align yourself with your deepest desires. And then perhaps the people around you and yourself are realizing, hey, we're not on the same page anymore. And for some relationships, that's okay. But then for others, particularly the person that you are going to spend the most time with, which is your romantic partner, that matters, because at some point you're just holding each other back. So it depends what unfolds out of that journey of personal development and discovery. And it's not the right decision to avoid that journey so that you stay together, because eventually the universe will hit you both on the head with what your desires really are, and it will just all unfold in probably a messier and more painful way. So it's much better to be honest with yourself and get to the truth of what it is you truly desire in life, what you value most, and what you want your future to be that you're creating, because we all know we're creating our life, and we want to have partnerships that are in alignment alignment with that. And then the third element is conscious partnership. So in order to create a conscious relationship, we need to understand how to approach our relationship life consciously. So this is talking about setting yourself up with a collaborative foundation together, actually co-creating your relationship and your future together, supporting each other consciously by creating that sacred space, practicing radical honesty, consciously communicating with each other, holding the space for each other, learning how to support one another through your ups and through your downs, and being those conscious mirrors to each other. There's so much within just this element to learn that you've probably never practiced. And by doing this in your romantic life, you'll start to do it in the other areas of your life. And honestly, this is truly liberating. Imagine being able to walk through life being so radically honest about who you are and what you believe, and also allowing other people to do the same and being able to connect on this real honest level with one another. That is what allows for intimacy. That is what allows for meaningful connection. And that is what allows for your liberation and fulfillment in life. This is where it's at. And your romantic life is truly the most beautiful way to practice and then integrate into the other areas of your life. Love is fun, for one. And secondly, like I said, in our romantic relationships, this is the person we're going to spend the most time with. We're going to be the most vulnerable with. So you get to have the best mirror with this person in your beautiful life. So you'll be learning all of these three elements in the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program and the process that I take you through. It's a very specifically tailored process. It's exactly what I took myself through 10 years ago and what I'm taking myself through again now today, obviously even more refined. I'm teaching you the tools that my partner and I have been creating together as we go and learning from and integrating and implementing and refining. And I'm teaching you really how to approach your love life through that lens of consciousness, which requires coaching. Coaching allows you to access your deeper wisdom, and it's through the power of questions and the kind of questions that you'll be asked by me to access that wisdom. We want to get clear on truly what it is you desire so we can create that for you. And most people don't ask the right questions to reveal these answers, or they don't access the right place within themselves. And so that's why they don't start with a strong foundation. They start with somebody else's foundation and then they build from there. And you might think that what you want is what you want, but often it's not even that. Like, we need to go deeper to really access truly what it is you desire. Now, in addition to these three elements of a conscious relationship, we also need to have a look at why it is that we as humans keep creating unfulfilling relationships in our life. And then we need to address those issues. So the reasons that it's so hard to stop creating unfulfilling relationships, and the reasons most of the examples around us are of unfulfilling relationships, are because of three main things. The first is the examples that we've seen from our parents and caregivers, from the movies, the news, TV shows. All of these examples are shaping our unconscious mind, right? Which is then creating programs and patterns around that. And so our expectations for what relationships should be come from this place of limitation instead of possibility. They come from societal conditioning so that we can be, a great human in a capitalist culture and in a patriarchal system, rather than what you need as an individual to actually thrive. So that's one of the problems. The second problem is our fear-based default thinking and behavior, which is the function of our mind in order to protect us. It's thinking about all of the possible problems and it's trying to keep us in comfort. So stepping into a relationship that is asking for more vulnerability and more honesty and more being seen and being you and accepting another person, that is so frightening to your mind. But like literally everything in life, you've got to go into what you fear in order to get what you actually want, which is also what your mind wants. It just thinks that going into the thing that feels scary is like what you're supposed to not do, but that's actually what you need to do. It's seriously the answer for everything in life. And then the third problem is that we're often showing up in our relationships reacting from emotional wounds and protective attachment styles like anxious attachment or avoidant attachment or anxious avoidant attachment. Now, I personally believe that I'm anxious avoidant attachment in terms of my protective attachment style. And it's okay. We all have these attachment styles for a reason. They were designed to protect us, and they were triggered usually in childhood at some point to cope with whatever was happening around us. And the emotional wounds that we have it's also okay. We have these emotional wounds, but what it means is instead of actually reacting to what's happening in front of you in your relationship, you're reacting to all of the triggers from the past that touch on that particular emotion or protective attachment style. So because of these three things, that we are then approaching our relationships with really low expectations. We're approaching them from a fear-based lens rather than love. And we're also reacting rather than from limiting wounds and attachment styles that aren't even us, rather than creating what we actually want. So what part of our work needs to be is actually reprogramming your examples around you of relationships so that you're creating your own healthy, thriving examples of relationships and expectations based on possibility within your own mind, allowing you to think freely rather than just thinking and recycling the patterns that you inherited from others, and instead creating from a place of freedom and possibility the relationship you actually desire. And secondly, we need to shift from that default fear-based thinking to using your conscious and prefrontal cortex to create love-based thinking and create default patterns of behavior that are based in love rather than fear. And we also need to help you manage the emotional triggers that you have by actually processing the emotional pain as it comes up, which we will do together. And secondly, learning how to manage your protective attachment style and also start to operate from a place of security within and outside your relationships, which then gives you the very foundation you need to have a thriving conscious relationship. So, my beautiful friends, in the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program, you will go through a process that will take you through these 3 areas for transformation, as well as integrating the 3 elements to a conscious relationship. And with these 6 pieces combined, you will create a thriving conscious relationship that turns you on, has you feeling fulfilled, that allows you to evolve and reach your fullest potential. You will have your desires for more in your love life met, and you will use the energy, passion, motivation, and drive that this thriving romantic life creates for you. You will use that within every other area of your life too. Your relationship life will give you energy rather than draining your energy, and you will become an example of what's possible. So much so that all of your friends and family and everybody you encounter in life and that you allow to see the magic of your incredible relationship will be asking you, how on earth did you do it? Well, the way you do it is through the exact process I'm taking you through in the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program. I know this works because I've done it for myself twice, and I know it works because I've also supported my clients and friends through this process over the years. And now I want to give the most up-leveled, refined, and mind-blowing version of it to you one-to-one. You have the opportunity to be one of 100 conscious relationships created in 2023, which means you have the opportunity to be an example of what is possible and be one of the leaders in this very, very new way of relating in the world. So if you're feeling like this is something you might like to explore, here are the 3 steps to take. The first is head over to leticiaringe.com/coaching. There's a new page there for anyone who might have checked it recently, and it gives you all of the details as well as an audio about the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program. Now, this is a bespoke coaching program, which means we are tailoring it to meet you exactly where you're at in the relationship cycle right now and where you personally want to be. So the way it will look for you will look differently than to another person that I coach, which is why there are no details on length of time or exactly what we're going to be going through, because you and I will learn what that is in our first session together. So you'll find all of the details you need to be able to identify whether a conscious relationship is something you want in your life on that page, and I want you to read it all. And then if it sounds like, hey, this is something that I really desire, I want you to head to step 2. So you'll find a button to click that says apply. And then you want to, on the second step, submit your application. It's a short application. It will only take you 2 minutes to complete. It's very important that you complete that because it's going to give me the information I need to know where you're at and what you really want so that we can have a really meaningful conversation when we first meet. So you'll submit that application, and then I'm going to come back to you with a personal email that's going to invite you to a call. Now, this first call is completely free and it's going to be an actual session. This is the first session within our coaching series. And in that session, that is where we're going to create a plan together for what our work would actually be. In this session, you're actually going to find out what the problems are that are standing in your personal way to what you want, and you're going to get clear on what it is you actually are wanting and what it means to actually create that in your life right now. After this session, you and I will both decide whether it's the right fit and match for you. You'll have experience of coaching with me so that you've got something to work on. You'll also know what the vision and plan is, and then we'll together be able to consciously communicate with each other whether this is the right match to work together one-to-one. And then from there, we'll either work together or you'll now know what the problems are standing in your way, and you'll know what the path forward is for you so that you can get working on that and approach that in whatever the most aligned timing and approach is for you. So this call is extremely beneficial no matter whether you decide to do the program or decide not to. I only ever want to work with people who are ready to do the work, and particularly because we are creating the program that will support a group of people in 2024 and beyond. So I'm only looking for people who are really committed to doing the work, to really creating this conscious relationship, and who are going to thrive within my coaching container. So I can promise you that I will give you that information consciously. And rather than thinking, maybe I'm not the right fit, why don't you come and experience it first? And then we can go from there together. So my beautiful friends, that's everything that you need to know about the Conscious Relationship Coaching Program. And if you're not there yet, that's totally cool. Keep enjoying all of the material that I have coming your way about conscious relationships. And I'd love to see you over on Instagram at Leticia Ringe, or over on my new channel, TikTok at Leticia Ringe, which is going to be active very soon. And I'd love to talk to you more there about conscious relationships. Send me your questions because I can add that to my ever-growing list of things to talk about and share upon. And I'm just so excited for everything we're going to create as a community together. We are going to lead within this area, and I'm so excited for all of the beautiful results that we all create as a result of conscious relationships. All right, my beautiful friends, I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Create a Life That Is Beautiful podcast. I'm your host, Leticia Ringe, and I appreciate you so much. If you would like support one-to-one as you up-level your life, business, or relationships in a conscious, intentional, and love-focused way, then head to leticiaringe.com/coaching. I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.